They're running out of games to make the same run that they did last year. They'll play Colorado tomorrow night. Sam Carchidi from the Inquirer, of course, covers the Philadelphia Flyers, Sam. And at this time last year, they had already started to put that run on to put themselves in playoff position. Saturday night might have been a inopportune time to play an outdoor game for them, but they needed that one really bad.
Yeah, no question about it, Mike. It was, it was typical of Flyers games recently. They played pretty well. They had a lot of shots, had a lot of chances, and they just couldn't finish. And maybe they could have gotten some more inside shots. Most of the shots were from long range, but they did have, I think, more quality chances than the Penguins. And once again, their goalie was outplayed. And as I said, they couldn't finish, and that's been a story now for about 2.5 months. This is not just a 2 or 3 game stretch. I just looked it up today, as a matter of fact, and since December 14th, that's the day that the Flyers won their 10th straight. Since then, and the Flyers were 4th in the NHL at that time. Since then, only Colorado has had a worse record than the Flyers. So they've gone from 4th in the NHL for the first 2 months of the year, and in the last 2.5 months, they've been the 29th best team. So the numbers just don't compute. It's just amazing, this free fall. And as I said, it's not just a 1 or 2 game thing. It's been going on for 2.5 months, and it's hard to explain. I don't think any of us thought they were going to be a legitimate Stanley Cup contender, but I don't think anybody foresaw this team being so bad for so long.
Sam, I know outdoor games are a different dynamic, but Matt Murray, 36 game saves, Michael Neuvirth, a night where you could say some of his goals were shaky. Do the Flyers simply not have enough good goaltending to win out of either guy?
Well, it's funny, Pete. They did last year, and I think most of us thought that was going to be a strength this season because Steve Mason, over the second half of last year, was terrific. Michael Neuvirth had a career year last season. He was lights out in the playoffs against Washington. And, I don't know if it's the pressure of their contract. As you know, both of them have their contracts expire after this season. So, maybe they put too much pressure on themselves. They will deny that, but, the results say otherwise. So, you can say that's definitely happened this year. But, I think these guys are a lot better than they've shown. We've seen it in the past. And you're right, Neuvirth was totally outplayed and let in 2 goals that really should not have happened against the Penguins. And, if the Flyers have Matt Murray in goal on Saturday and the Penguins have Michael Neuvirth, the Flyers win that game. And, you could say that for a lot of games, in the last month or so. The goaltending just has not been sharp. Neuvirth has had some flashes where he's resembled last year, but really hasn't been consistent. And, as a result, you see a team that was 9 points ahead of the last of the 9th seeded team, and now they're 6 points out. So they've lost, if my math is correct, they've lost 15 points, in that stretch, and actually it could be a lot worse because some of the teams that are in this playoff race have not played the best hockey as well. So it's been a long tumble, and they think that they can still make the playoffs. They have 21 games left. And they think it all starts on Tuesday against a very poor Colorado team. But, right after that, you have Florida, which is playing well, and you have Washington. So it's not going to be easy, but they still do believe. I must say that. And, 21 games is not, a small sample. There is still enough time, but they have to get it together real quick.
Sam Carchidi with us, Flyers beat writer from the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can read his work on Philly.com as well. And, the numbers are pretty sobering. 21 games left, 6 points out of that playoff spot, running out of time, losing 7 of their last 9. You look at the captain, right? So Sidney Crosby scores for the Penguins in that game on Saturday night, and 60,000-plus people, or at least the ones that are Pittsburgh Penguins fans, are excited. Flyers fans continue to ask themselves, where's our captain? Where's our guy? Do you think Claude Giroux's hurt?
He says he's not, but I'll tell you what, he just does not have that second gear that he's had when he's been healthy. We saw him during the 10-game winning streak. He was terrific. He had 12 points. He was plus 10. I think he had 5 or 6 goals during those 10 games. Now he has 3 goals, and I think it's 25 or 26. 2 goals, I'm sorry, in 25 or 26 games. And his plus-minus is just going the other way. And 5-on-5, he's disappeared. He's still terrific on power plays. He's still terrific 3-on-3 when they go to overtime, but he needs a lot of space, and the guys around him are not creating that. So is he injured? I wouldn't be surprised if after the year they say that he's been bothered by something. He says no, but his actions on the ice say something else. But that said, that he has to find a way. I mean, if he's healthy enough to go out there, he's got to be better than he's been. I think we've seen him play a little bit better in the last week or so, a little bit more determined. And, they moved Jordan Wheel to left wing on that top line the other day, and he'll stay there tomorrow against Colorado. And, I'm anxious to see if they can develop some chemistry, because I like Wheel. I think Wheel's got some good speed, and I think, he's going to be a good addition to this team. But, there's no question. I think Giroux, the biggest thing he needs, I think, and I think Ron Hextall will try to address this in the offseason, I think he needs a bigger wing, another big wing on his left side. And we'll see if they can address that in the offseason.
Have the last week or so, do you think, has that changed, Sam, Ron's view of the deadline? I mean, do you think they'll be able to get anything done, or has it changed some of the guys who might be whose names might be mentioned?
Yeah, I think all along Ron Hextall has been in sell mode. He won't come out and say that. He did at least come out the other day and says, well, we're not going to be buyers. And I think that tells you right there that they are going to be sellers. And, the question is, does he have, the guys that people want? I really thought that Steve Mason was on his way to Los Angeles from things that I had heard talking to people with the Kings. But as you know, they went out and got Ben Bishop yesterday. The Kings have been really high on Steve Mason. I think he would have been, a good guy to have as insurance for Quick, because Quick just came back from an injury that has sidelined him most of the season, and they don't think he can go every day. Mason would have been a good compliment, but they gave up quite a bit to get Ben Bishop, who was a rental player. I don't think they would have had to give up half as much to get Steve Mason. So I thought that would have been a good fit. I still think there's a chance Mason or Neubert ends up somewhere else, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Street and possibly Michael Delzato go too. The Flyers, it's no secret, they want to stockpile draft picks, and they want to get some prospects who are forwards. They have a lot of good prospects who are defensemen in the minors or in junior, but offensively they're not as deep. So they would like to improve their farm system, and so I look for Hextall to make at least a couple trades before Wednesday's deadline.
And if one of those goalies moves, you also have to factor in that expansion draft too, right, Sam?
Yeah, and it gets tricky, Pete, as you know. I mean, because you have to have a goalie that you can protect. As it is now, you're not allowed to protect Neubert. You're not allowed to protect Mason because they'll be free agents, and the only guy under contract is Anthony Stolarz. So as it stands now, they would have to protect Anthony Stolarz. But, from talking to Ron Hextall over the last few months, he doesn't think that's going to be such a big deal because he thinks that they'll be able to acquire maybe a veteran that they can, protect, and that would free them to not expose Anthony Stolarz. They do not want to expose Stolarz. There's a good chance he would not get picked by Las Vegas, but you don't want to take the risk. I mean, it would be very embarrassing if they put him out there and he's picked. He would be a real good guy for Las Vegas to have as a second or third goalie, and you would hate for the Flyers to lose a guy like Stolarz. I was just puzzled by the way Stolarz was used, to be quite frank. Mason really was overused, I thought, when Neubert was hurt. There were a lot of times that they could have used Stolarz. There was one time where Steve Mason was injured his hand, and 2 days later he was back on the ice and playing. And I really thought they misused Stolarz. I would have liked to have seen more of him. He was terrific in the small sample. He started 2 games. He played in 4 games. His last game was a shutout in Detroit. We really don't know what we have in Anthony Stolarz, but from what we saw, he looks like he's got a promising future. I just hopefully they can make a deal in the next couple of days and bring Stolarz up and get another look at him to see exactly what they have.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. When that all went down, I wanted to see more of him, too. I thought they had a great opportunity and missed on it, and we'll see what ends up happening. The never-ending search for the goalie in Philadelphia continues. Sam Carchidi
and the left winger
from the Philadelphia Inquirer covering the Philadelphia Flyers as they play tomorrow night against the Colorado Avalanche. Thank you, Sam.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.